So this is the fourth arena called Pekka's Playhouse, and as in my other videos, I'm gonna rate the cards from 1 to 5, where 5 is super strong, 1 is pretty bad, and 3 is super close to very balanced, yes. And this is actually the first arena where there are legendary cards introduced. But I'm gonna start with common cards as I did in my other videos. So the first card in the Pekka's Playhouse arena number 4, is Sap. So it's a 2-cost spell, and Sap resets the target. The Sap mechanism of the spell is super strong. The Sap only costs 2 elixir and just fits into every deck pretty much. And the statistic shows that 43% of all players in Legendary Arena uses this card, and the card still, even though that many people use it, almost half of the people or decks uses this card in Legendary Arena. And it's so strong, so it's actually gonna be the first card that I give a 5. You might argue it could be a 4, but it's so good, fits into every deck. I would say pretty much every deck should at least have like a Sap or a giant snowball, but Sap is just a wonderful card. It just seems so strong, and for some, I just feels like it need a little bit balance, but I don't know if that other people opinions. I really don't know. I just look at the statistics, and by playing this card for so long, this game for so long, I just feel like this card is a little bit or a lot too strong. The next common card is the Minion Horde. So you get 6 flying minions for the cost of 5. And first you might think, well, the minions in the training camp, you get 3 for 3, and now you get 6 for 5. So this must be like so much better than the minions that are rated 4. But actually, no, I actually feel like this and think and can see by the statistics that this is actually not as good as the minions. The Minion Horde, the main concern is it does cost 5, and it's easily countered by the small spells, especially arrows. So it feels like it's like other cards that I mentioned, is a big risk, high reward card to use. So either it just destroys the opponent tower because you just like threw a miner in before, or it just get counted like this and 5 elixir are just lost. So I feel like this card is like not super good, but it feels pretty balanced and has a like in the middle win rate as well. So therefore I would rate it 3 out of 5. Heading to the rare cards, we're gonna start with the Mega Minion, which is a flying Mega Minion that only costs 3. It was recently nerfed, and still it's very, very good and counters so many things, and it only costs 3. And the fact that it's flying, so a lot of cards doesn't target it, is just super good. I would definitely recommend this card. If it wasn't recently nerfed, I might consider rating it higher, but I think it's a pretty solid 4 now, and it fits into so many decks and so many archetypes and so on. So the Mega Minion is like a super, super solid card to start gathering as you head into the Pekka's Playhouse. The next card is the Infernal Tower. It's a 5-cost elixir, and it's very, very strong against big cards, troop cards, and it used to be insanely good. Used to be pretty broken, I think, but it was nerfed a lot, lost a lot of health, and therefore it seems a lot more balanced now. I feel like this is kind of harder to place than a lot of cards, I would say, because looking at the statistics, after it got nerfed, they went to really high win rate and use rate and fall down to the middle. Therefore, I feel like it's a 3, but it just seems like the nerf made it a lot weaker. But also, before you can just kind of like put it there and just it was just sitting and like felt like it was there forever. Now it doesn't last as long, so it feels like there's a lot more skill in using this card as well. So 3 out of 5, I would rate the Infernal Tower. Heading on to the epic cards. Lightning is a spell that costs 6 that hits up to 3 targets for massive damage. There's a lot of tower damage as well. I feel that it's one of the more underrated cards. I kind of understand why the Fireball is so popular, but why is this card maybe not as popular? It could be because it's an epic, so it's harder to get, but it's a very strong, especially in certain decks, a very strong card. Still, it seems like relatively balanced, so I would, and the statistics says so as well, or maybe a little bit above average, so you could argue it's a 4. I rated it 3 with my experience and so on, that it's a 3, but some people could argue it as a 4 cost card. Very underrated card, I think, though. Not a lot of people use it. The next card is called the P.E.K.K.A. It's Pekka's Playhouse. This is kind of her arena, and she used to be, like last month, she was so broken. Luckily, she was nerfed, her ranged, and before that, her life. So now she seems a lot more fun to play against. Before it was kind of ridiculous, and now she's not a 5 rated card. Now I would say she's a 4, and she might drop a little bit more, but now she's still very, very solid, and very popular card as well, with pretty decent win rate. So I would say 4 for now. Heading on to the very exciting stuff, the legendaries, the Miner. The Miner is a 3 cost minion that you can send out everywhere on the arena, on the map, or whatever you call it. Only 3, and he also very good at poking, give some poke damage, and or use it as a counter push as well, to tank the tower hits. Super strong legendary card that I would give actually a pretty good win rates. I would give this card 5 out of 5. One of the strongest legendaries by far, and has been for a while. Maybe could use a nerf, but until then, just very solid card. I never used him in any of my accounts or main decks, but it's such a good card. Very lucky to get him as one of the first legendaries for sure. The next legendary as well is more niche, but super good compared to win rate. It has been the months I've been looking at the win rates from week to week, day to day, month to month. It has been like the highest legendary win rate pretty much every time. It's the Lava Hound. It costs 7 elixir. When it dies, a lot of babies spawns out and does a lot of damage. 6 babies, and the Lava Hound only target buildings. So it costs 7 elixir. So therefore, it doesn't feel like it fits into a lot of decks. It's like a win condition that you have to build your entire deck around, of course. But anyhow, because of the win rate is so extremely high and has been for so long, I would definitely rate it 5 out of 5. So as you can see, a lot of good and very strong cards in this area. 3 cards rated 5 out of 5. I would recommend trying to get to this as arena and push to this arena as quick as possible and use the sap, and hopefully you'll get one of the legendaries as well, but start collecting sap as quickly as possible.